So the Rose coach in Unrivaled finally decided to play Lexie Hull. Lexie Hull actually saw the floor. And what happened when Lexie Hull played more than like 4 minutes? Oh, the Rose win. First of all, they win.
Picture this. You're Lexie Hull. You've played a total of 8 minutes in 2 games, your team is winless, and you've mostly been watching from the sidelines as Angel Reese hogs the spotlight, relentlessly chasing double-doubles. Then, out of nowhere, you get your shot. And instead of just holding your own, you absolutely demolish it, dropping a commanding 19-point performance, taking over, and leading your team to their first victory. It's the kind of moment that proves the value of grit, preparation, and staying ready when opportunity strikes.
And Lexie Hull goes 8 for 11 from the field and has 19 points, 3 assists, and 3 boards. 19, 3, and 3. She was the top scorer.
This isn't just a typical comeback. It's a powerful story of grit, strategy, and ultimate redemption. Lexie Hull has reminded everyone why raw talent always outshines inflated stats. Her performance sent a clear message and could be the missing piece to unlocking the Rose Basketball Club's true potential. But what exactly did she do to outshine? Angel Reese and prove her point? Let's dive in.
Hull's really stepping up because she barely played those first 2 games. And I do think with her barely playing those first 2 games, I don't think she did anything wrong. Like I even said at the time where I'm like, it's literally just the style of play their coach is trying to play that didn't suit Lexie Hull.
Remember when Lexie Hull was practically a ghost on the court for the Rose Basketball Club? Oh, it happened. Let's rewind to those first 2 unforgettable games where Hull barely saw any action, just 8 minutes of playtime. Yep, you heard that right. 8 minutes across 2 full games. And here's the kicker. While Hull sat on the bench, the team was busy stacking up losses like it was a competition of its own. The Rose Basketball Club kicked off the season with an embarrassing 0-2 record, leaving Hull powerless to help. Frustrating. Doesn't even begin to cover it.
Imagine going from Christy Sides coaching, where she doesn't really want to play you, and no matter what you do on the court, it doesn't matter because your coach doesn't want to play you. And then eventually your coach figures it out and starts you and plays you 30 minutes a game and your team gets better.
Here's the thing. Lexie Hull isn't just another player trying to find her rhythm. She's a certified sharpshooter with defensive skills that can shut down even the best. In fact, during the previous WNBA season, Hull's 3-point shooting percentage placed her among the league's elite. She's got the talent, the stats, and the game to back it up. So why was she left cooling on the bench? It's a head-scratcher for sure.
Lexie Hull hardly played. And it was all within like the flow of whatever offense you run in Unrivaled. And also, she's obviously a really freaking good defender.
So what's the deal? Why was a player of Hull's caliber practically invisible on the court? Something wasn't adding up, and fans were starting to take notice. Social media was buzzing with questions about why Hull's lockdown defense wasn't being put to good use, especially when the team desperately needed a spark. Here's where it gets interesting. While Hull sat on the sidelines, the team was struggling to find its groove. Sure, a few players were hitting double digits in scoring, but it wasn't translating into wins. The offense felt disjointed. And the defense, let's just say it had more gaps than a block of Swiss cheese.
As we've seen from Melissa Thomas, like the points that are like the point guards that are doing really well, or the point forward type things that are doing well in this aren't really the pick and roll players. It's the ones that are sharing the rock and hitting cutters, hitting like 3-point players. Like it's not about the pick and roll it's not as important in 3-on-3, especially when you can push the floor and you can run, and athleticism is the most important thing.
Here's the truth. Even with her limited minutes, Lexie Hull was making a statement. In those brief moments on the floor, her lockdown defense was impossible to ignore. It was like watching a highlight reel on fast forward. Blink, and you'd miss the impact she was making. The frustration was real. Teammates were grumbling. Fans were flooding social media with their outrage, and the consensus was clear. Hull deserved more time on the court. But through it all, Hull stayed true to her nature. Professional, composed, and the ultimate team.
I think Lexie Hull is going to have she's going to have a solid Unrivaled, and thankfully she's stepping up, and I didn't think she did anything wrong in her first 2 games when she was on the floor. The coach just didn't fit her. She didn't fit the coach's system. Thankfully, the Rose switched it up a bit. They won.
How did Lexie Hull go from bench warmer to game changer overnight? That's the million-dollar question. Was it a shift in strategy? Did the coach finally realize her value? Or maybe Hull struck a deal with the basketball? Gods, we'll unpack it all in just a moment. But first, let's address the bigger mystery. Why was she benched in the first place?
She's back to mid-season form. She really is. She's absolutely delivering on that double-double. That's right. Points, rebounds, and of course, losses. Just in the same way that the Chicago Sky melted last year when her double-double streak started, she cost her team a game.
Remember when we couldn't figure out why Lexie Hull was stuck on the bench? Turns out she might just be the secret weapon the Rose Basketball Club needed all along. Let's dive into why Hull's skill set is practically built for the 3-on-3 format in Unrivaled. First off, 3-on-3 basketball is an entirely different animal compared to the traditional 5-on-5 game. With fewer players on the court, there's way more room to maneuver. And this isn't just about having space to breathe, it's about creating opportunities. The pace is quicker, the action is more intense, and every single player has to pull. Double duty as an offensive and defensive threat, it's a fast, fierce game, and Hull's talents fit perfectly into that dynamic.
People are saying, oh, she should have never went to Unrivaled. I still think, look, she's getting paid, 100 and something K, at least. Could be paid up to $250,000. She's everywhere. It's going to help her out. She drew the short straw with her team. The way the coach wants them to play is just not the way Lexie Hull is good at.
Now, let's talk about Lexie Hull. You know, she's a sharpshooter, right? Well, in 3-on-3, that's like showing up with a flamethrower to a water balloon fight. With all the extra space on the court, players who can sink threes and drive to the basket consistently become total nightmares for the defense. And Hull, she's not just good. She's been one of the WNBA's best when it comes to raining shots from beyond the arc. But here's the kicker. Hull's game isn't all offense. In 3-on-3, defense is under a microscope. There's nowhere to hide when you're the sole defender guarding your opponent. This is where Hull truly stands out. Her lockdown defense is the stuff that keeps opposing players up at night. In a format where one-on-one matchups can make or break the game, Hull's defensive ability is like having a secret weapon.
Not only that, she's been good. The problem isn't that Lexie Hull has been garbage. Lexie Hull has played well. That's the weirdest thing, is that she's actually played well. There is one issue with Lexie Hull, which is why I think she's not playing, but I think she has actually played well. And their team lost again.
Want to hear something even crazier? This isn't Lexie Hull's first go at 3-on-3 basketball. She's been there, done that, and has the medals to prove it. Hull has represented Team USA in international 3-on-3 competitions, bringing home some serious hardware. That experience? It's invaluable. She knows this format inside and out, and it's evident in her play. Still not convinced? Just take a look around the league. Players like Kayla McBride and Kate Martin are absolutely dominating for the LA Basketball Club. What do they all have in common? They're all lethal from long range. These players are showing game after game that in 3-on-3, a sharpshooter is worth their weight in gold.
We saw Kate Martin have one of the best performances of the weekend with a double-double at the guard position off the bench in limited minutes, where she did unbelievable.
So why is Lexie Hull's playing style a perfect fit for 3-on-3? Basketball? It's simple. She's got the complete package. Her sharpshooting keeps defenses on their toes, spreading the floor and creating chances for her teammates. Her lockdown defense means she can neutralize the opposing team's top player. And with her experience in this format, she knows exactly how to leverage her skills to dominate in this high-paced, unique style of play. So, how did she put all this to work in their latest game? Let's break it down.
But for Lexie Hull, at least now they're stopping running the constant pick and rolls. That was the worst part about it, is everything had to be a pick and roll. So the only players really scoring were Azare and Angel got some shots in, and that was really it. And at least this game was good today. This game really was good today.
The stage was set for an epic showdown against the Misted Basketball Club. With the Rose still hunting for their first win, they knew it was time to shake things up. And shake them up they did. Gone were the days of slow, plodding offense and pick-and-roll heavy plays. In their place, a fast-paced, high-energy strategy focused on quick movement and sharp cuts. It was like watching a whole new team, and at the heart of it all, Lexie Hull, finally unleashed.
So a brick from Chelsea Gray, an offensive rebounder in Vandersloot. Like, it's all from hustle plays, it's all from cutting, spotting up. A cut, Chelsea Gray hits her. Like, it's the off-ball movement that was really nice. Lexie Hull posting up Courtney Vandersloot. I stand by this. I thought at the start Courtney Vandersloot was going to be the worst player in Unrivaled. She's not, but she's very poor.
Let's talk about those 19 points in just 10 minutes. No, that's not a typo. Hull wasn't just good. She was on a whole different level. But here's where it gets really interesting. 14 of those points came from driving to the hoop. This wasn't the Lexie Hull we thought we knew. This was Lexie Hull 2.0, attacking the basket with such intensity that defenders were left in her dust.
Sloot is very, very poor. Like Courtney Vandersloot, she shoots it off the dribble, bang. And then again, she goes and cuts on Vandersloot. Courtney Vandersloot, dear Lord. Like, then she's being guarded by Alia Edwards with the post fade. Like, Lexie Hull was doing a little bit of everything, but a lot of it was just her off-ball movement. A good screen by Brittany Sykes and a nice left-handed finish there.
Of course, Hull didn't completely leave behind her signature skills. Those other 5 points? Pure magic from beyond the arc and the free throw line. It was like watching the perfect mix of her tried-and-true strengths combined with her newly unleashed aggression.
Lexie Hull, just as far as her cutting, it was just cuts, hustle plays, and she was just doing a lot of the little things. Like, she didn't do anything crazy other than, like, she made one or two decent drives. She made she made a really good cut. Like, she made a really, really good cut. She made really good cuts, and that's really it. Like, it just shows how much off the ball movement matters.
Let's put this performance into perspective. Hull's efficiency was through the roof. She posted the highest point total on the team even with limited minutes. And speaking of limited minutes, let's talk about Angel Reese for a moment. Remember her? The one who was supposed to be the star of this show?
Angel Reese had a horrific game. Like, a terrible, terrible, terrible game.
Well, Reese's stat line tells a different story. 4 points in 8 minutes, with 3 turnovers and 4 fouls. That's right. She spent most of the game glued to the bench. Talk about a role reversal. But this isn't just about Hull outshining Reese. It's about how Hull's performance sparked the entire team. With Hull leading the charge, the Rose found their rhythm. The new offensive strategy clicked, creating space and opportunities that had been missing up until then. And just like that, the Rose Basketball Club scored their first win in Unrivaled.
Changed a little bit. She's doing a lot more off the ball work. She's doing a lot more cutting, and she's doing a lot of positive, really positive things for the team. And with her defense, I think it's hard. It'd be hard to not give her a look in. Or at least whether you don't want to give her more of a look in, or these are the type of minutes you want to give her. I think it's hard to give her as few minutes as you did initially.
So, what does this mean moving forward? For starters, it raises some serious questions about Hull's previous lack of playing time. If she can drop those kinds of numbers in just 10 minutes, imagine what she could do with more time on the court. It's clear, Hull isn't just a role player, she's a potential game changer. So why was she benched during those first 2 games? And here's a wild thought. You know who wasn't stuck on the bench during those games? Angel Reese. But what? If her presence on the court was actually holding the Rose Basketball Club back?
So, yeah, not a good day at the office for Angel Reese.
Let's break it down. In the first 2 Unrivaled games, Reese was putting up double-doubles. Not bad, right? But here's the catch. Those stats didn't lead to wins. The Rose Basketball Club kicked off the season with 2 tough losses. Something just wasn't clicking.
You can imagine missed layups from last night. Man, I mean, what is really going on here? You see that, and then whatever that is. I don't even know what that was. One more time. Oh, my God. I'm going to drive to the basket, and then I'm going to mess the ball up. No layups. Whatever that is. We don't know what that is. They haven't identified exactly what the hell that is.
Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute. Are those even real double-doubles? And you'd be right to question it, especially with all the talk about Reese's stat padding. Talk about a letdown. Next VOC, next VOC. But it gets worse. In the latest game against the Misted Basketball Club, Reese only played 8 minutes. During that time, she managed just 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting. Sure, she grabbed 6 rebounds, but she also turned the ball over 3 times and committed 4 fouls. Not exactly the kind of performance you'd expect from a so-called star player, right?
Rose did win though, which is all that matters. But like, I think it's got to the stage now for the Rose where, even though, look, I don't think in the first 2 games Angel Reese was that bad. I don't think she was brilliant, but it's now got to the stage where you have to play as her.
So, what was going on? Well, it turns out Reese's playing style just wasn't meshing with the fast-paced world of 3-on-3 basketball. Her game was slow, pick-and-roll heavy, basically the opposite of what this format demands. It's like trying to play checkers in a game of speed chess. It just doesn't work. The truth? Reese couldn't finish at the rim. She missed several easy looks in these games. I mean, come on. Layups are the bread and butter of basketball. If you can't make those, you're in serious trouble.
You have to start Azurá Stevens. Like, there's no question about it. Like, you have to start Azurá. Because Angel Reese, 2 of 6 from the field. She had as many fouls as points. 3 turnovers to 1 assist. Look, it's not ideal.
Those fans were starting to take notice too. One even went as far as to say, Angel, Reese is a liability in Unrivaled. Ouch. But can you blame them? The Rose Basketball Club's offensive strategy with Reese on the floor was about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. Instead of fast movement and sharp cuts, things that actually work in 3-on-3, they were stuck in a slow, plodding style that wasn't producing results. It was like they were playing an entirely different game.